Hello, and welcome to Well, There's Your Exiled Prince. It's a blog about Kenshi, and it has slides. My name's Adam. I'm the person who's talking right now. My pronouns are he and him. So let's get back into it. Let's get into catch up part two of many. This is just the new way I do this blog, I guess. It's easier to do and it's more fun for me and it's less convenient for you. So who's to say whether it's a good or a bad thing? Um, so last we left off, our the Unhive was departing for a grand expedition for loot and glory and hopefully new teammates. Here's an aerial shot of our more or less completed base, or at least completed in its current form. Uh, I'm gonna lose. I lost my brain cells, but I'm back, and we're actually gonna jump back a little bit just because I had a couple of fun shots of the base that weren't in the previous episode. And you can see we're using these mostly modded hive-style buildings. We're right on the coast of this incredibly acidic ocean that will slowly kill any humans or Shek that try to go into it. On the left, you can see we've got our industrial machines where we refine our iron and steel. In the middle, which you can't really see, is where the farm is. And then and we've got our wind turbines giving us power. It's a great little place. It's a great little spot. And so here's an interior shot of the long building in the middle. This is where we do all of our crafting. You can see Hiroto and I don't know who else, Jafar, I think, working some fabric looms, Greens all the way in the back, working the biofuel distillery, making fuel for our generator. Perry's up here in the front, crafting some armor at the leather armor bench, and Dr. Chung's all the way in the back on the right. I think he's doing some research, unlocking new tech for us. This is where all the magic happens. This is all the crafting spot. Here's a shot. I know in the last episode we defeated Kral's Chosen, but here's a fun shot of us all lying bloody and beaten as they run away for the fifth time. Yes, this is this is Sakri's left leg, which he lost during one of the Shek fights. Poor guy. The actual physical dismembered limbs don't really serve any purpose. They just sit there until you put them in an incinerator or something. The only time they're useful is if you have a dog on your team. You can feed the severed limb to your dog. But we don't have a bone dog, so that's what they're called. It's not a nickname for me. So we say goodbye to his leg and toss it into the incinerator. And here he is. Here is. I think he was the first person to wake up from being beaten senseless. So he had to crawl, since he's missing a leg. He had to crawl to the nearest bed and get in to heal. Poor guy. Poor little dude. And so then here's a little shot of a bath. This is actually, since you've already seen the Meet the Team episode, this is what's in the background of that shot. You'll notice there were these potted plants and this water tank. And behind the wall was a little bathroom. We've got a little rusty toilet, a little rusty sink, and a little rusted bathtub. Nice and safe and sanitary. The hivers can swim in acid water, so they don't need to worry about whether there's rust in their bathtub. Here is, speaking of which, here's Ray sitting on the toilet. I took his armor off because it looked weird for him to be sitting in his heavy armor on the toilet. And you can also see that Ray's lost basically the left side of his body, and that his left arm and left leg are both robotic. He's a hardened warrior. What else we got? Here's Dr. Chung taking a bath, just resting. The bath is added by a mod. I don't think that's in the normal game. And sitting in the bath mechanically works like lying in a bed. He's healing. And also I've taken off his armor because it looks real dumb for him to be sitting in the bath wearing his clothes. And so now we jump a little forward to the present, or where we actually left off. Here's a fun little action shot of Green and Perry shooting at some beak things in the middle of a hive village, while the hive helps us kill these beak things. This is just what traveling in this region is like. We basically hop from village to village where we can be protected by the NPCs. And so we are at the moment not capable of killing a whole nest of beak things on our own safely. So we've kind of rely on the hive's town guards to save us each time. One of the things that the mod, the overhaul mod that I'm using does a lot of behind the scenes tweaks and stuff about, who spawns where and at what rate and who uses that sort of thing. And so one of the things that it does is it reduces the amount of roaming squads and packs of animals but increases the amount of animal nests and like camps for bandits and stuff. So there's fewer just roving squads and a lot more or fewer like roaming packs of beak things and many more nests of beak things. So better and worse. A little easier to avoid, but much more dangerous when you run into them is essentially the way that balances out. And here's our first new face. We've left Vane, we've left that creepy acid jungle, and we are passing by the hub again, which is that decrepit starting town that sucks. And this is, I believe his name is Hanbu. Again, we're about to recruit a bunch of samey-looking drones. I promise that I know all their names. I'm not being dismissive of my worker drones. They're great, and I adore them. They're my favorite kind of hive race. But because I don't include the UI in the screenshots to make them look nice, it also means I don't know which is which in this context, because as you are about to see, we're about to recruit. This is the first of 5 worker drones we're going to buy out of slavery, and they all look fucking identical at the beginning of it. So I'm pretty sure this is Hanbu that we've recruited here. We found a passing caravan, and we're going to buy him his freedom. So he's very excited about that, and we've been carrying just some sort of loose clothing that no one else needed, with the intention of throwing it on new recruits, though you'll see that runs out very fast since we're not prepared to take on 5 new people so quickly. But here he is wearing, I think some of this is discount clothes we purchased, that were discount stolen clothes that we purchased from the Thieves Guild. But here he is, got a helmet, got his desert saber, looking good. Looking, arms are a little thin, but that'll change. In Kenshi, there are certain skills like strength and melee attack and laboring and farming that increase your character's muscle definition the more they train them. So he will beef up a little bit once he gets his legs under him. And what do you know? We've run into another slave caravan immediately after we leave the hub, and here are 2 more, and I promise I know their names. These are Squint and Sand. As you can tell, I'm not editing these characters at all. They all look the same. They all have generic Kenshi names, though a lot of times you wouldn't be able to tell because Kenshi comes up with... Sometimes I'll take a character and I'll give them a goofy name. My last playthrough had Bungus and Doppelgoober and Thembo and Herbo. I had silly names. And then Kenshi's like, oh, you thought you were being silly? No, we have people named stuff like this in the game. And you'll see we're going to encounter a couple of unique characters like Crumble John and Infinite Wing Wang, who unfortunately we won't recruit. But yeah, you can see that Squint and Sand are very excited to join the team. And I don't know which one that is in the back, but he's very excited to get his shackles off. Because, as we all know, the worker drones have nothing to lose but their chains. All right, that's enough of that. So here they are in some equipment. You can see we're already running out, so they've just got helmets and swords, and got a dust coat for one of them, but not a dust coat. That's a Ashland coat. You don't care. But yeah, so we've slapped some equipment on them. They're good to go, swelling our ranks, and we finally reach the border of the Deadlands. This is, I mentioned in the last one, full of dangers. It's the rain that is coming from the sky is acid, so anyone who is not fully protected from it, or not anyone, any humans or Shek who are not protected will take damage. So our hivers are fine. If we had any skeletons, which are the robots, they'd be fine. And also pack animals are fine, probably because you can't put clothes on them and it would be too frustrating from a game perspective to try and protect your animals. But so this means that Perry and Fiona and Dr. Chung will take a little bit of damage because I did not give them full coverage. Their wide hats and leather jackets, I think they're going to come out to have about 60 or 70% coverage, so it should be fine. A little bit more concerning are these mercenaries that we've hired, because they aren't wearing really any coverage. You can see they're wearing just normal samurai armor. So they're going to be taking some damage as we go into the Deadlands, and you can already see in the distance there's a little dome building in the left there, and a lot of these you see these spider robots in the mid ground of the picture. Those are mostly deactivated, but once in a while they are alive, so we do have to be careful because they will mess our shit up if we run into them. So here's another shot of us running through the Deadlands. Here's another workshop. You'll recognize the design because it's the same as that lab that Sakuri found sunk into the ocean in the previous episode, and it's probably going to be defended by some broken robots that will be real fun for us to fight. And here is Fiona not being happy about being in the Deadlands, and as lightning strikes in the background, and if you look closely on the right, all the way on the right of the picture, you can see Sakuri Naruto running into frame, because when someone with high stealth skill sprints, they do Naruto run in this game. It is very funny. Here's the inside of one of those dome labs. You can see there are two security spiders. These are definitely active. Whenever you find them inside buildings, they're always active. And these are actually stronger than the ones that you meet outside. The iron spiders are formidable, but not as bad as the security spiders that are in here. They will wreck our faces. You can see a crumpled pile of mercenaries outside in the front where they fought one spider, and Sakuri is running into the lab to try and bait the spiders out one or two at a time so that we can shoot them with crossbows, not have to fight them all at once or in a tight space, because they can hit a lot of people with their attacks. And also because most of the weapons that we're using have a penalty to being used indoors, because they're either big polearms or big two-handed heavy weapons, and we don't want to be at even more of a disadvantage than we need to be. And so, after doing some looting, we reach one of the very cool locations in Kenshi, which is Black Desert City. This is a city, as you can see, in the middle of the Deadlands. And it is where all of the skeletons live. Or at least it's the home of most of the skeletons. The skeletons being, as I've mentioned, the robot race in Kenshi. They are immortal, and they live forever if you don't destroy them. There are lines about skeletons resetting themselves to deal with a variety of reasons, but it also means that they reset their skills. And so it's implied that most skeletons have done this at some point, or many of them have, though there is the famous Catlon the Mad, who's supposedly never reset himself for 1,000 years, and still remembers when the Second Empire was there. He's one of the strongest enemies in the game. He lives down in the Ashlands. Maybe we'll go fight him someday. That's a pretty dangerous area. But this place is great. There's a shop that sells very high quality robot limbs, which we'll get great use out of. And you can't really see it. It's faded into the background of the shot, but there's a big, tall, square building just out of the outskirts of the city, and that is the Scrap House, which is a store that sells really, really good quality weapons and armor. Well, mostly weapons, but also it sells some of the valuable technology that we're looting from the ruins. You can just go in and buy an AI core for 25,000 cats. So we're definitely going to do that because those things are hard to come by, and you can do good research with those, like hydroponic farming, automatic ore drills, revolving barrel, harpoon turrets, you name it. There's cool stuff you can do with AI cores. So one of the most exciting things about Black Desert City, well, aside from the fun dialogue that the skeletons yell at you from seeing a human for the first time in a long time, is another unique recruit named Sad Neil. Sad Neil is an incredibly depressed robot. You can see here he's talking about how bored he is with humans. He hates his life. He's very depressed, but he does join us for free. So, welcome Sad Neil to the team. Look at that pitiful robot. We're gonna turn him into a powerful warrior. He's the one. He talks about being depressed, and he could solve his depression by resetting himself, but he would lose all of his skills, so he doesn't want to. And you can see Green. Ooh, yes, Green has one of the fun items in this game. We've swapped his shitty hive-produced robot leg for a high-quality skeleton-made leg, which is a scout leg. You can see it looks like those cool kind of bouncy prosthetic legs that we have in real life. And this will give him an insane boost to his movement speed. You can go... I think even with just one of those legs, he's going to be able to run at like 38 miles an hour or something insane like that. So this is really fun. A really fun thing to have. One of the things people often do in Kenshi is deliberately try and lose legs so that they can replace them with these things and they can move at the speed of sound. Yes, this is another fun thing in the Deadlands, is that one of the labs is full of broken thrall bots that will immediately bond to your character when you enter it. So now we have this army of these broken thrall bots that'll just follow us around. Not forever. I think they just follow us around temporarily while we're in the Deadlands, but they'll be very helpful in bonking the robot spiders with their wooden sticks or their metal sticks. I've got a couple pictures of them actually. Protect the master, protect, defend the master. Here they are, having successfully protected him from one of the spiders. Crisis averted, they say. Situation resolved. Here's our team. I don't know why it took you a second. They're just resting. We've put up some sleeping bags so that they could heal from one of their fights, and we've used some fabrics that we brought with us to build this little shelter so that the few people who take damage from the acid rain can hide under here and recover. Considerate to the weak humans who don't have cool bug person. I shouldn't call them bug people. That's insensitive. Here's some more of the thrall bots following Sakri around. What else we got? Oh, hey, that's the end of the episode. Nice. Shaved 10 minutes off from the first one. This is just a nice looking shot of the desert to end the episode on. Got some real Kenshi vibes from this shot. You can see over there in that dust cloud is a big ruined structure. There's nothing in it, but it's called the Eye. and not everyone knows anything. Like, people in the world don't really know anything about it, but it's thought to be some kind of crashed satellite. And at some point in the future, we're going to go into the region of Venge, which has lasers coming down from the sky, and there is dialogue from skeleton characters that imply there is a second satellite up in the sky that is shooting those lasers down. Real bad business if you run into them. But that's all for now, actually. End of the episode. Thanks for sticking around if you have, and I'll catch you next time.